All right, let's take a look at how to get started with Google Forms. And there's a couple ways you can get to Google Forms. One of them is to go to forms.google.com. I never do this, but you could if you wanted to. This just shows all of your Google Forms. It'll show you templates up here in the template gallery if you wanted to pick a template. I really don't ever use templates. I kind of build my own, and these are all the forms that I have. Like I said, I don't use that. The other website you can go to is forms.new, and that'll generate a brand new Google form. I don't really recommend that either unless you have to do something quickly on the fly. The other way that probably the best way to do this is to go to your Google Drive, navigate to the folder that you want the form to exist or reside in, all right, and then go up to New. And it doesn't make the cut here on these first ones. Head on over to More and Google Forms. And you'll also see that with this arrow over here, you can pick a template from here, but I usually just generate a blank Google form. All right, the first thing you want to do when you get in here is to name the document, name the form. So let's just call this, I'll call it beta test. And when you rename this here, if you just click up, it will sync those two names together. Now, when you look at a Google form, there's like three components to this. There is the edit piece that we're in right now, right? There is the live piece where students or teachers will fill that out. There's a couple ways to access that. I usually click on this eyeball right here and it'll pop out. So this is what this form looks like so far. All right, and I use this a lot actually to see how my form is progressing. Does it make sense? Is it doing what I want it to do? This is the URL you would want to send to kids. The other way you can send that URL is just to simply hit the send button and you can compose an email right from here, right? So the third component of a Google form is the responses. And within the responses, this tab here will show you a summary of responses, but also you can generate a spreadsheet if you wanted to do some more data manipulation. And the way you generate that spreadsheet is by simply clicking this green spreadsheet button. All right. I just know that with these three dots right here, you do get some other options for deleting responses and to like changing the spreadsheet if you wanted it to go somewhere else or something like that. All right. Now, I'll get into these components in another video, but for right now, these buttons up here, this is the one to change your colors or your themes, whatever the case may be. All right. The eyeball we talked about, that shows you the published or the view you'd send to kids or teachers. And then over here, you also have the settings cog. When you click in here, there are some basic settings here, like to collect email address. This will require that people sign in, or it'll prompt them to write their email address in order to submit the form. All right, I can restrict this to my district or my domain. I can limit students to just one response. Right, and then you also have these two options for edit after submit or see a summary of charts and responses. Now, under the presentation column, this is where you can put in like a custom response. When a person gets done submitting, it pops up and says, your response has been recorded. You can put something in here like, yay. All right, and that's the response they would get once they hit submit. The progress bar, this shows up, this makes sense if you have multiple pages in your Google form. All right, it'll kind of show how far they've progressed through those pages, but also shuffle the question order. This might be a good option if you're going to do something like a quiz. All right. The third tab over here is the quizzes section, which we'll talk about in a whole nother video, but you do have the option to make this into a quiz, and you can lock kids into the screen when they're taking that quiz. All right. All right, so for now, here are some simple things like adding collaborators. This isn't the same as in a regular Google Doc, so that option is there. I put it to trash or make copies if you wanted to do something like that. All right, and that's all under these three dots.